is desert country. The desert is called the Sahara. It is harder to cross than the Mediterranean Sea. This means North African customs and traditions have more in common with the Middle East and Europe than the rest of Africa. That's because for millennia, the Middle East and Europe were easier to get to. The Romans, Greeks, and Turks all conquered North Africa and made it part of their empires. And then Morocco conquered southern Europe and made it part of their huge North African empire. Until the 19th century, North Africans took slaves from countries as far as north as Iceland. The few North Africans who did manage to cross the Sahara before the days of plains were nomadic Berber merchants, the original North African people, with their long lines of camels carrying salt and gold. Wherever they stopped, people came to buy and sell goods. Those trading places became huge markets, and those markets became the great North African cities of today. You can still buy anything there, from a computer chip to a fossil the size of a car. In fact, it is said that you cannot buy something in the markets in North Africa, then you cannot buy it anywhere in the world. Algeria. In Algeria, women work everywhere, in shops, schools, office, businesses, hospitals, courts, and mosques. More than half of all university students are women, and so many doctors, scientists, lawyers, and judges are women too. Cave paintings in the Algerian desert show people hunting the herds of animals that lived there thousands of years ago, when the Sahara Desert was lush, rich savanna. But now most of them live at the coast, where the climate is just like California, because the rest of the country is either snowy, mountains, or scorching desert. Algeria is the largest country in Africa. Soon, Algeria will have one of the biggest solar energy farms in the world. Egypt. Egypt is probably the most well-known African country. Tourists love visiting its famous pyramids and taking boat rides down the magnificent River Nile, where the biggest crocodiles in Africa live. The river runs through the capital city of Cairo. It's a gigantic city with one of the best universities and the best army in the whole of Africa. Egypt is the largest Arab country in the whole world and is on two continents, Africa and Asia. Because most of Egypt is desert, 99% of Egyptian people live in only 3% of the country, along the edges of the River Nile. Without this wide, wet river, which brings rich soil as well as water, Egypt would never have become a great nation. My cousin Michelle is back with her travel adventures to Egypt. Camels are found all over Egypt. They are primarily used to transport food across the desert because they can go for long times without water. Fun fact, sometimes camels spit at humans. This beautiful Egyptian city, located on the Mediterranean Sea, holds a special place in Michelle's heart. Alexandria reminded her of home. Growing up in Hawaii, she's used to being around the ocean, so the clear blue water of the Mediterranean and the fresh seafood and the smell of salt water felt like home. She also had a chance to visit the world-famous Library of Alexandria. It was one of the earliest and most significant libraries in the ancient world, and today is still as extravagant, holding tens of thousands of books in hundreds of languages, as well as art and sculptures. It was quite an experience.
I'm so happy. أنا كويسة. يا ماني ازيك؟ ازيك؟ جميلة خالص.
Michelle says some of the best food she's ever eaten has been in Egypt. A typical breakfast includes something called tama, which is green beans fried into a patty and eaten in a sandwich. It's called a falafel also. Another common food eaten in Egypt is stuffed grape leaves, and they are stuffed with peppers. You can see Michelle preparing a grape leaf to be stuffed. They are usually stuffed with a mixture of rice and meat, then baked. They are also very delicious. All the produce was extremely yummy and fresh. She ate lots of fruit there, and watermelon was her favorite, and it made for a perfect dessert. Traditionally, Egyptians eat on the floor, on a rug, or pillows. Not every meal was like that, but she was lucky to have a few. It was a lot of fun. Michelle said going to see the pyramids was a surreal moment. She had learned about them in school and seen pictures in textbooks, but it was really amazing to be able to see them that up close and go up to them and touch them. She learned that the pyramids are made of huge limestones, but there is no limestone in the area of Gaza where the pyramids are located. So these massive stones were brought up from southern Egypt on the Nile River.
What's up, guys? It's me, Michelle. We're out here at the pyramids. What? Wild. Liz, what do you think? Good. Mark? Juan?
Not every picture. No, not in general. Just like every picture.
Every afternoon, and also in the day, is tea time. It is a time where friends and family gather around and talk about life and such and drink tea. Sometimes it's black tea, sometimes it's mint tea, and even sometimes hibiscus tea. Whatever the flavor, Egyptians love lots of sugar in their tea.
Okay, so this is literally chai. That's how they make it. Chai tea, baby. Whoop, whoop. Cheers.
No. Tota, ja tota.
Libya. The Liberian desert in the Sahara is one of the most hottest and driest of the world. Sometimes 10, 20, or even 30 years go past without rain. Even the Berbers and the desert-loving Bedouins will not go into parts of Liberian desert. They prefer their beautiful cities built around oases. The most beautiful Berber city, Gedamins, pearl of the desert, once only men walked its winding streets, while women visited each other in their joined-up roof gardens. Now in Libyan cities, men and women walk together and sit together in cafes, drinking coffee and laughing with their children. There are the ruins of the Greek temple to Zeus near the Liberian port of Crane. There are also the awesome ruins of the enormous Roman city called Leptis Magna, home of the Roman Empire. It was nearly as important as Rome. One of the oldest Jewish communities in the world is in Libya. It dated back to 300 BCE when the ancient Greeks ruled. Mauritania. The country of Mauritania stretches deep into the Sahara Desert and down into Sahel. Sahel means shoreline in Arabic. The shoreline of a desert as wide as the ocean. It is dry and dusty land with thorny trees and prickly bushes and spiky grasses. Luckily, Mauritania is full of oases too, where springs of clean water bubble up from the dry ground and where trees, farms, and whole towns can grow. The desert is growing and towns and villages are being buried under the sand dunes. People are escaping to the capital city on the coast, which is now crowded with refugees. There is still slavery in Mauritania. People are bought and sold as if they are animals. They have no rights over where they live, who they live with, or what they do with each moment of their lives. Morocco. In the heart of every North African city is a Medina, the old town. In the heart of the Medina is the souk, the ancient market where the camel traders who crisscrossed the Sahara sold all they bought. The souk in the Moroccan city of Marrakesh is so big that it covers 19 kilometers. There are spices, carpets, leather, gold, olives, and hundreds of other things for sale, just like there were 1,000 years ago. And now there are watches, phones, and cameras too. Medians all have narrow and winding maze-like streets. The streets are narrow to keep out the scorching desert sun. They are winding to keep out the sands of the sandstorms. They can bury cities alive. They are maze-like to confuse enemy raiders. Tanzania. In Tanzania, beautiful golden domed mosques, high spiky cathedrals, and cool tile synagogues crowd together, where Muslims and Christians and Jewish people go to pray. On the shady streets outside, families sit in restaurants and cafes eating their favorite foods. Some prefer fast food, while others tuck into traditional stews served with couscous and flatbread. But everyone loves to drink and super sweet mint tea. Stews are cooked all over North Africa in thick pottery dishes with lids shaped like cones. The stews are made by putting pieces of meat or chickpeas in the bottom and sprinkling them with spices. Vegetables are layered in a pyramid shape on the top, and the dish is covered and cooked in red-hot embers of the fire. Tanzania sells more olives than almost anywhere else in the world. Lots of people have jobs looking after olive trees and harvesting the olives. Other people work in the many, many factories in Tanzania that make clothes and shoes and car parts and electronic machinery. Western Sahara. Western Sahara is where the Sahrawi people live. They call their country the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic. The Moroccan government took over Western Sahara in 1975, saying it was part of Morocco. Sahrawi people are still fighting against this. They want to rule themselves. Once the Sahrawi men roamed with their herds looking for grass while the women stayed at home in charge of their families, the finances, and the law. Now most Sahrawi people live in refugee camps waiting for the war to end. The Sahrawi people love to drink green tea. They say the first cup is bitter, like life. The second cup is gentle, like death, and the third cup is sweet, like love. The Sahari International Film Festival takes place in Western Sahara every year. It is the only film festival in the world that takes place in a refugee camp. Hello again, friends. Welcome back to our Legend and Map of Africa. Today we looked at country 49, 50, and 51. Country 49 was Algeria, and the capital city is Algiers. Its puzzle piece is gray. Country 50 is Egypt. Just had to double check my spelling. I always mess that one up. And the capital city is Cairo. Its puzzle piece is orange. Country 51 is Libya. And its capital city is Tripoli. And its puzzle piece is green. Now let's go to our map. Country 49 can be found right here. It is this big country of Algeria. We're going to take our gray. Remember, when they're a big country, and even small countries, we want to take our time when we're tracing on the outside. And then shade the inside nicely. Remember, when you shade, it's all going the same way. We don't change the movement of our pencil and go an opposite way. Excellent. Great. Now country 50 can be found over here, which is Egypt. And it is green. We're going to trace the outside and color the inside. Great. And lastly, country 51 is located in between the two of them, and that is Libya. All three countries today are very big. Excellent. And shade the inside. Look at country 52 and 53 of our continent study of Africa. Country 52 is Mauritania. Let me just make sure I have the spelling for that. And the capital city is Nouakchott. Its puzzle piece is orange. Country 53 is Morocco. And its capital city is Rabat. And its puzzle piece is pink. Now let's take a look at our map. Country 52 can be found right here. And we're going to color that orange. Excellent. And country 53 can be found just up here, and that country is pink. So Mauritania and Morocco. We are focusing on the last two countries of our map, 54 and 55. Country 54 is Tunisia. And its capital city is Tunis. Its puzzle piece is yellow. Country 55 is the Western Sahara. And its capital city is Leuni. And its puzzle piece is green. Let's go over to our map. Tunisia can be found over here at this narrow country. We're going to write 54, and we're going to color it yellow. And lastly, country 55 is right over here, which is Western Sahara, and we're going to color that green. Fabulous. Congratulations on finishing your Legend of Africa and your Map of Africa.